What's going on? Welcome to Unlocking Your Inner Strength. In these episodes, I share with you insights and inspirations that have come to me on my path in life, and hopefully they can be a welcome hand of guidance as you move along your journey. I teach because I'm passionate about my message. I teach because it helps me to learn more deeply. Thanks for sharing a few minutes of your time with me for this week's episode, and without further ado, here is this week's show. What's up, everybody? It's Kyle once again with another episode of Unlocking Your Inner Strength. Episode 241. Had a good episode on Friday with BK. People liked that one, so that was good. I had a great weekend. A couple of the highlights: we watched Elise, one of our friends and clients from Newell Strength. She won she defended her title. MMA. We watched it on TV here with some friends on Friday night, so that was pretty awesome. We ripped up the old side of the gym in Hillsboro, moving everything over to the other side, and it's a joyous day. That's not a sad thing. And had a great weekend. Had some fun dancing with the kids last night, listening to some good music. Good song for those of you, whether you like country or not. South Side of Heaven by Ryan Bingham. It is a beautiful song. So just listening to that again before I came on here. Anyhow, today I'm going to go over some quotes from various books I have sitting here. One of my old coaches and Alice in Wonderland. So this is by John Carlton. And funny enough, the first lifting book I ever ordered was from a direct direct mail ad that I saw in the bodybuilding magazine for Big Beyond Belief. This was going back to 1998. Saw it in a magazine, ripped it out, and John Carlton wrote the ad. I was later able to meet John Carlton out in Reno. It was pretty surreal. He's a marketing guy, but he happened to write the ad for this for Tom Platz and Leo Costa. This book I still have upstairs, which greatly influenced me. Anyhow, going through John Carlton's new book, I got some underlines here. So I'll go over some quotes from Alice in Wonderland, and from my old coach, Scott Abel, and just kind of give you my thoughts. And hopefully something resonates with you because, as Scott always told me, the quality of your mindset determines the quality of your behavior. The quality of the questions you're asking yourself, your inner dialogue, determines what you do with your life. Having a hateful, brooding attitude will stunt your growth. It'll make you a smaller person, a less wise person, an older and feebler person. And you won't grow. Not spiritually, not physically, not emotionally. Growth only comes from movement and change. Fear shrinks you, anger shrinks you, pride shrinks you. How do you step beyond that? How do you grow out of that? And first of all, it's self-awareness. But nowadays, more than ever, people have been manipulated to be put against each other. And it's very easy to be angry at other people that disagree with you. It's their right to disagree with you. That's what freedom is about. That's what liberty is about. That's a cool perspective, right? And one of the quotes that I'll finish with today is very relevant to that. But just think about that, right? Having a hateful attitude will stunt your growth. Okay. Growth only comes from movement and change. Change is a form of death. When I was a kid, and I talked about this a lot in the past, I got hooked on this fear of death because one of the kids we grew up with in the old neighborhood in Michigan died from aneurysm, and it scared the heck out of me. It made me come to face with actually knowing that death was a real thing. You know the concept, but so I've always examined it throughout my life. And I come to know, I do. It's funny, we closed the red side of the gym, and a lot of people were saying, "Are you sad? Are you upset?" Not at all. Maybe it's because I didn't stop to think about it, but I've learned throughout life that each change, as we said here, is a form of death. When you graduate high school, you can't go back. That part of your life is dead. When you graduate college, if you go to college, that part of your life is dead. When you decide to get married, the single part of your life is dead. When you have children, the childrenless part of your life is dead. You can't go back. It's just a continual series of deaths. And once you realize that, it's okay. Death is an evolution, but change is a part of that process. Image suicide. This is a great concept because so many people get latched on to who the projection they think they have to put forth. Let me use myself as an example. When I was bodybuilding, right, it was about looking, I got to look this way. I'm a bodybuilder. For a long time, I struggled with that because I knew it was just something I was doing. And but the image suicide now, no, I don't care what I look like. I don't care how big my muscles are. Right? It's like another lifetime ago, and you got to evolve as you go, and you get new interests, and it's okay. You know, you don't have to just fit in with the Joneses, like the Stepford wives. I even think back to maybe I was lucky enough from an earlier age, but when I was in my fraternity, I was different than everybody, and that was part of the reason I was drawn to that fraternity. Was it wasn't all you got to wear these type of pants, wear these type of shoes, and dress this way. Man, I had no style when it came to that stuff, and I didn't care, and it helped me to fit in more and be accepted more within that fraternity back in Delaware. But let the old side of yourself continually to die so you can grow into a new part of yourself. The people who get the most done in life are all extreme risk takers. The people who get the most done in life are all extreme risk takers. What is risk, right? It's putting yourself out there when you could have face-to-face with this projected fear. Now, we know, I had a good conversation with my friend YT about this Friday. Fear is something I always struggle with. That's why I studied it so much. But it's not real, right? And there's nothing to fear but fear itself. The old JFK quote. But extreme risk takers, risk reward, right? It's that pendulum. If you're willing to take this risk all the way at this end, like, right, you think about that, the reward can be this great. If you're only willing to risk this much, the reward can only be that great. So extreme risk takers, they're going to have higher highs and lower lows. But this is the way it is. That's what it is. Let me move on to some other quotes here. And hopefully some of these resonate with you. In your mind, you must ask yourself the right questions. So these are from my old coach, Scott Abel. The inner dialogue, I always said out in my map, determines your thoughts. You must ask yourself the right questions. Why? What is the purpose of this? What am I trying to achieve? Get clear on that, and then the path opens up. What is one small thing you can change right now to make a constructive difference? Because in the end, change is going to be the difference. What's one small thing? You don't have to do this. Like everybody thinks with New Year's coming up, they got to do these huge goals and go for broke. You don't have to do that. What's one small change? Can you start getting up 5 minutes earlier? Can you start drinking a little bit more water? Can you start putting salt in your water? And you do that, and it leads to the next thing. Momentum's a very powerful thing. Be more pragmatic and less emotional. Pragmatism. Be pragmatic, right? Be more of a realist. Go along with it, right? You could still have a richer life experience being pragmatic more than idealistic. Pragmatic, what hasn't worked in the past? What can work now? Do you need advice from somebody? What's going to fit in your life? That makes me think of the quote, complexity is the enemy of execution. And if you've taken that road before and you know it doesn't work, don't do it again. What is the energy around you like? What is the energy around you like? Energy is everything. Everything in the universe is made up of energy and information. The energy around you, right? Environment number one is up here. What's the energy like at home, at work, at your gym, the people you hang out with? And if it's not good, you got to change that. Because you can be bombarded by energy vampires and they're going to suck you dry. So what is the energy around you like? That's a good question you can journal about or ask yourself from time to time. What part of the process is upsetting to you and why? if you've gone down a certain path of change, right? Change is painful because it's unknown, right? The brain craves clarity. But what part of the path is upsetting you? Figure that out, and then you can figure out how to change it. It's all the story you're telling yourself. That's your reality. It's the story that you're telling yourself. Let's see. Personalize your process. This is what coaching's about. But like when I take people through the panda at the end, it's about making it personal to the person, teaching them how to fish. Maybe it doesn't have to be exactly the way I learned it. Not maybe, that's a definite. But personalize it. Make it your own. You take an concept, right? There's no new ideas. There's new revelations. In the history of the world, everything's been thought of. Trust me. Now, has it come to fruition? Maybe not. But you take part of the process and put your own thumbprint on it. You make it your own thing. Then, let me just quiet that, guys. You make it your own thing, and it's yours now. Then you can move forward. Let's see if I got any more. Rely on the KISS principle to guide your decisions. Keep it simple, stupid. It goes back to complexity. The more complex something is, the less likely it is to work. The more complex it is, the less likely it is to work. Keep it simple if you don't know what else to do. And I'll add to that, if you don't know what else to do, just look what everybody else is doing and do the opposite. If you've failed over and over again in your life, let's say with diet, and you're coming up on that time of year because it's the New Year's next week, whatever you've done in the past, do the exact opposite. Make a list, and then you do that, and then you'll be all good. I guarantee you're going to have some good success. Last one from Scott, then I'll finish with a few from Alice in Wonderland, and why I'm finishing with that I'll tell you in a second. Be kind to yourself throughout this process. You got to have self-compassion. Again, that's something I've always struggled with, so I've studied it a lot. But if you're not having love towards yourself and compassion towards yourself, you can't give that to anybody else in your life either. Right? It'll be artificial. Be kind to yourself as you change and you grow. One of the things that's been more relevant to me now, and I got it a long time ago, was this. There's a tattoo right here. Philosia. It says it's a made-up word, but philo means love, and the sia means the seer, the observer. The two things, right? Just step outside yourself and see. And know that love is the highest power. That's all you need, but you need to give that to yourself. If you have that for yourself, it can come through you. Okay? If you have it through yourself, it can come through you to other people. I heard a great line in one of the Stevie Nicks songs I was listening to on Friday. Don't listen to me, listen through me. Like she was being inspired by the music. Don't listen to her. Don't get caught up in her. Listen to the inspiration that's coming through her. Now, I'll finish with a few from Alice in Wonderland. We watched it with something I've been wanting to watch again for a while, just as I'm studying all these different types of philosophies and how much mystical and deeper level stuff was in that. You don't realize when you're a kid, right? But you see it. So we watched that Saturday, finished it yesterday with the boys. The new one with Johnny Depp, Tim Burton. So some quotes. Alice says to the rabbit, "How long is forever?" And the rabbit says, "Sometimes just 1 second." So that makes you really think about time. What is time? What is this construct of time? It's the only thing that's ever present, right? What's up, YT? The white rabbit. There you go. It's the only thing that's ever always present, right? And it's. I was even thinking about synchronicity, chronos, time. You know how that plays into that word when I was writing the email this morning. But how long is forever? Sometimes it's just 1 second. But just examine time and how you speak about time. Do you kill time? Do you waste time? What is time? And I think it's good to just ponder. I mean, that is very profound, that little interchange between Alice and the rabbit. How long is forever? Sometimes just 1 second. What the heck does that mean? Kids might be able to pick this up more than adults. But as a kid, it might be not something that you really pay attention to either. Okay, another one from Alice in Wonderland. I knew who I was this morning, but I've changed a few times since then. An old girlfriend told me this, that she was studying psychology or whatever she was going to school for. And she said, every time you have an interaction with somebody else, it's different because the relationship changes because the person has changed. And I know with my map, every time I meet with somebody, they're a different person. So this quote is very deep too from Alice in Wonderland. I knew who I was this morning, but I've changed a few times since then. You might have heard a new idea, had a new conversation with somebody. You might have had all this stuff happen, and it's okay. You're not going to be the same person. You shouldn't be when you go to sleep each night. Your brain should constantly be changing as you're learning and you're creating new pathways within your brain. And the last one, I'm not crazy. My reality is just different than yours. I'm not crazy. My reality is just different than yours. And think about that, right? So many people are scared to, be different. And your reality is created by your perception. Perception creates reality. You have 11 million bits of information coming at you at any time, any moment. Your brain can only perceive 40 out of the 11 million. If you're tuned in or I'm tuned into a different channel than you, I'm going to think you're crazy. You might think I'm crazy. It's the same physical world we're living in, right? But my reality might just be different than yours, and that's okay, right? I get worried about people when they don't want to question outside the box and they don't want to embrace their weirdness, right? Everybody's got this whatever path, whatever's pulling them forward, to study or to learn. It might seem weird to other people. It might. But you got to say, okay, man, maybe this makes me feel good doing this, and don't really worry, because nobody is sitting there really thinking about you. We put too much stock into that. Nobody is really spending all day thinking about you. If they are, I don't know what that's about, but most people are concerned about themselves. So embrace what feels unique to you. Don't be a poser. Don't try to do stuff just because you think it's going to get you attention or things like that. That is different. That's being inauthentic to your true being. Just follow your path, and as it unfolds, if people talked about this with BK Friday, if people tell you you're crazy, that's a good thing. Take it as a compliment. Because I'm onto something. I'm onto something. And there's been a lot of ideas that I've had in my life, but once you embrace them, no matter how strange they seem, if it resonates with you, that's the path you should go. So that is it for today's episode. You all have a great holiday week, a great Christmas, and I'll be back next week with more. KyleNewell.com should be up and running soon. Having that work done by Will the Thrill. So don't forget to subscribe on iTunes, hit the like button, hit the share button if it resonated with you, and I'll catch you all later. You wrote for today's episode. I appreciate you and your time truly. I'm humbled and honored if you made it to the end of this episode. Don't forget, you can go to KyleNewell.com for your free ebook written by yours truly on getting started with fasting, infused with 5 mind map principles never before seen. This is something I have not given out to anybody else that'll help you see the light when it comes to your fasting journey and creating better health, both physically and internally. Remember, it's all about the mind, body, and spirit. Until next week, peace.